07 Star Citizens. Hope you're all having a fantastic week. CIG certainly are, as they have not been slowing down with all of the cool updates and news and everything they've been letting us try out for the last couple of months. Not only did we get to play Pyro over the last week, but we've also been able to play 321.1, and this is the IAE patch. But it's not only the IAE patch, it actually seems to have some features. But are they working at all? That's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. Before we get into the video, if you want to talk anything about 321.1, IAE, Pyro, CitizenCon, then make sure to come and join Answer the Call with Salty Mike every single Sunday. It is our podcast call-in show where you guys get to talk with us about Star Citizen, which is what we've been doing for 90% of the development. So, 321.1, I want to sort of talk about my initial thoughts on this patch, as even though it is a .x patch, it actually feels pretty hefty when you consider all of the things that are coming with it. And we're going to start with probably the most impactful, which is vehicle tractor beams. And also technically a change in some of the handheld stuff, like the brand new rifle-sized handheld tractor beam. So this is a feature that we've all been waiting on for a very, very long time now. We have the ability to use our ships to move around these larger 32 SCU containers. We can move other ships with them, ground vehicles, even cracked asteroids and salvage, allowing us to be able to do what I keep describing as not its own gameplay, but a strengthening of gameplay of pretty much every other gameplay loop in the game. The tractor beams have an absolutely fantastic VFX, in my opinion. They can make it a lot easier to do the large salvage missions where you have a decent amount of 32 SCU crates. And overall, bugs withstanding, I think they've done a really good job with it. There is just one problem though. I'm not sure what they want us to use these tractor beams for, other than a couple of corner case things, like maybe using them to move salvage to a slightly better location, or using them to move broken up rocks to a centralized location, or to move out the ones that you don't want to use. In relation to cargo, almost all of the tractor beams are a bit too awkward to use to make that worth it. Like, there's not many instances I would use those tractor beams rather than a handheld, rather than literally getting out of my ship, running to the open hangar and moving the boxes around myself. And from what I can tell, this is a sentiment that's shared by most of the community, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Obviously, we've only had a little bit of time to test the tractor beams, so there's probably a lot more coming, and there's probably a lot more balancing that's going to happen, but it looks like a cool feature. Moving slightly on from the tractor beams, we have two brand new vehicles that are available for us to play in the EPTU right now, that being the Spirit C1 and the SRV. We're going to start with the Spirit C1 because it's probably the easiest to show, and there's not really much to talk about it. It's an A1 where they've taken out the bombs and it's got a cargo bay. That's kind of it. I wouldn't really have expected much more. One nice thing about it that some of the other new ships that have vehicle tractor beams now don't have is it has like the Scorpius turret ability where it can move the turret from top to bottom. So you actually have a little bit more maneuverability in how you can move your boxes around. I think that's fantastic. And I will say, as cargo ships go, it's pretty decent. Its official data says that it can hold 64 units of cargo. However, there is a massive space in the middle. If you just bring in cargo behind you, you can fit a lot more in there. So for its price and its size, pretty decent cargo hauler. I don't think it beats out the Freelancer Max just yet, but it's pretty solid. If you like the Spirit series, I think it is a solid one. Now talking about the SRV, which has its own enormous tractor beam. This is another ship that we've been waiting on for a really, really, really long time. The whole idea of the ship is that it's kind of the tugboat of Star Citizen. It's designed there to move really, really heavy loads off planets to then be, pushed through space, whether that be ships or cargo. Well, one of the really, really cool things it can do is it can tractor beam stuff and then quantum travel with it. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a thing forever, but it's certainly a really cool thing right now. In typical Argo fashion, it has a fantastic interior design, as all the Argo ships have had recently. It also looks absolutely amazing with just the sheer amount of thrusters that it contains. That really does make you think this is way too much horsepower for the size of this ship, as it should be. It's a tugboat. So I think they've done a really good job there. They did have a very funny bug on the first day that made the SRV tractor beam sound almost like a foghorn, and it was the worst, but that seems to have been fixed now. And it also has received a bit of a VFX update, and it looks fantastic. There is a couple of balancing issues that I assume are going to once again come around with some of these other tractor beams. It's really hard to get a gauge on what you can actually pick up in different gravities. Hopefully, maybe they let us know a bit more about what we're trying to pick up. The actual tractor beam UI needs a bit more explaining, I think. It can be a little bit complex to someone who hasn't done the research into every single little bit of it. But for the most part, a fantastic ship, and I'm really excited to see it in the lineup. Now, before we get into the other two features that we're actually getting to play in 321.1, I want to talk a little bit about IAE, because we are going to see the SRV and the C1 released there, and this is the IAE patch. The schedule came out for IAE just pretty much yesterday. Pretty much confirmed what we were all thinking. We're going to be seeing an alien ship at IAE. Now, first off, the purple theme, love it. It does feel very alien. If you do right now in the EPTU, go to the New Babbage Convention Center. Just before you go up the stairs of the Convention Center, you'll actually see like a booth for the citizens of Pyro saying, "Don't buy alien, they're gonna get ya," which is a really great touch. I like that a lot, especially with, guys, there's a reason Alien Day is first, you know? So let me know in the comments, what do you think we're going to see at IAE? And what do you think the new alien ship is? I try to avoid leaks as much as possible, but I love speculation. So let me know in the comments below what type of ship you think it'd be. Who will make it? And not to mention, what other ships will we see at IAE, like a large RSI mining ship? So back to what we can play right now. One of the other major things that they're testing in this update is the AI. We saw during CitizenCon this whole thing of bringing the Squadron 42 AI behaviors into Star Citizen, and it was very exciting. I don't know why so many people thought that that would fix the AI, because it's certainly not fixing server performance. Every server I've been on in 321.1 has been really, really rough, to the point where I've only really seen two major improvements or behaviors that have been brought over from Squadron, but both are pretty important. One is how aggressive the enemies can be. During a mission where you've got waves of enemies coming at you, like in the retrieve consignment missions, they will run for you. Because of the server performance, they might not shoot you, but they're certainly coming for you. The other one, which I think is more important, is that on 2 occasions, I saw NPCs leaning down to loot their fallen comrades. This was a really important thing from the Squadron demo, talking about how they themselves need to look for ammo or med pens on, you know, fallen bodies. So it was cool to see them attempt to do it. Like I said, though, because of the server FPS, while they did begin the action of trying to loot their companions, they certainly did not finish it. I waited at one point for about 2 minutes to see what would happen, and they kind of just sat there before I shot them. So really, really hoping the server performance increases for the EPTU really, really soon. As a small addendum to the AI improvements, they want to test Siege of Orison at the moment as well. Unfortunately, once again, the server FPS has been too rough and the server crashes have been too frequent in order to get an actual decent test of Siege of Orison. We know that there's a bunch of improvements that are supposed to have come from Siege of Orison, not just the AI improvements, but obviously, if they get it to work, that'll be a big showcasing of what it can do. There are supposed to be things about, you know, there's less funneling of people into certain areas, and it's a little bit harder for people to just go to every single lieutenant as soon as the mission starts. Make it a bit more interesting overall. So I'm excited to see what the changes are, but we haven't really been told anything. The last major thing that got added into 321.1 is a brand new mission. And this is one that got talked about during an ISC a couple of weeks back, called Data Heist. I have also not been able to get this mission to work, but I did get to see Salty Mike get it to mostly work and have a chance to see what happens. So essentially, you go to one of these underground bunkers, you start shooting up the place until you find a card or a hacking chip. You put it into a server and everything starts. There is a progress bar at the top as enemies keep spawning in waves, and sometimes some of the cooling systems in the servers that you are surrounded by will start to overheat. And so you have to run further into the underground bunker right next to where everyone is spawning, find a code, come back and input the code before it messes up. From what we can tell, if it does mess up, it resets the progress bar to 0. And I would assume if you mess up too many times, you don't get anything, maybe, or you get a bonus. I couldn't tell, as Mike was not able to finish the mission and ended up bugging out at one point. So that's like all of the features that we get to test right now. There's obviously a lot more things that are going to be coming with IAE, specifically ships that we're going to get to test, but you know, I'll make videos over those once we approach IAE. The biggest thing is that this is a really, really rough patch, and IAE, as of right now, is like a week and 2 days away. This isn't the first time that CIG have done a late patch before an IAE, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have to delay something like the AI improvements in order to get a more stable patch. I assume, and I hope, honestly, that that's causing most of the problems. But my opinion doesn't really mean anything. I want to know what you guys think about 321.1 so far. Have you gotten access yet? I believe as of recording this, it is still in wave 1, but I'm sure it will open up sometime soon. If not, what are you most expecting from IAE? What are you most hyped for from IAE? Even though I am obviously very into the alien ships, I think the RSI large miner that we are theorizing we're going to be getting is probably the thing that I want the most. And, you know, maybe they get some money out of me. Damn you, CIG. That's it from me, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I release a video. And thank you to our awesome community for watching all of my videos recently. Love you all. I've been streaming on both Twitch and YouTube recently, so make sure you check out those streams. They've been a lot of fun. If you've hung out during one of those streams, thank you. It's been cool to see people say hi on YouTube. And I'll see you guys at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Have a good one.